Science jerks. Science jerks. Science jerks. The rate of change in acceleration of science. Science jerks.
Welcome to the Science Jerks. I'm your host, Dave Chacho. With me is your other host, Robert Chan.
Hi.
And we're back for a second episode with our very special guest, Meg Favreau.
Yay! We've learned.
Favreau.
We've learned in the days since we've seen you last.
Well, thank you for having me back, gentlemen. Thank you for pronouncing my name differently. Even I really don't care, though.
Yeah,
you say that.
You say that, but I tell people when people call me Robert Chang, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's just wrong. That's just the wrong name.
No, I just
So
it's
much.
If you call me Megan, I will be really pissed. But
Actually,
Favreau. Just
Half of my family says Ciasio, for real.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the only other.
There's
You're
like
the only
a-
other person I've talked to who has this
a
split.
big rift debate in my family between the Chachos and the Ciasios.
Oh, that's
The
weird.
Chacho is the Sicilian pronunciation, and Ciasio is like the bastard American version.
I originally, sometimes I will call you that, like as a joke. You know, it's like a.
So I've never heard you say that, so I can only assume that
Oh, no.
you're making these jokes behind my back.
100%. It's like pronouncing something lasagna. Like it's not lasagna.
Something.
Lasagna.
Right.
Well, yeah, but I can't say it. It's like fine.
It's like
pronouncing lasagna.
calling
lasagna.
bologna lasagna.
Yes. Bologna. So, Meg, what do you do? We have a guest, Dave. Can we focus on the guest?
Can it just be
And
about me once?
You're so nice and asking that guest. What do you do? God, why
God
do we
damn
have
it,
you?
talk about yourself.
Well, I'm a comedy writer. I do sketch comedy.
What else?
My
Good comedy or just like shitty,
Well,
Hollywood's comedy?
real shit, just real awful. A lot of direct to video, dicks everywhere.
What kind of videos are you watching?
Comedy porn
that
is what I
sounds,
write.
that sounds like good comedy to me.
I'm on
I
two,
don't know.
I'm on two sketch comedy teams, DJ Fawcett out of the IO West Theater
Mm-hmm.
and Bone Mouth. And then I also do comedy writing on the internet,
Nice.
various places. I do have a Tumblr, someoldjokes.tumblr. That is old jokes from before 1950.
You remember any of them?
Okay, so a lot of my favorite ones are either super dark or they're just like breaking the format of what is supposed to be. Like I was actually looking at it again today. There's a limerick that goes, "There once was a lady from Spain who vomited while on a train, not once but again and again and again and again and again and again."
Again.
Yeah, well, but like that is a printed joke in a joke book.
That's pretty clever.
And then there's a lot of them. Like this is especially around like late 1800s, early 1900s, where the joke will finish and then there's just a really sad ending to it.
The chicken
That sounds
crossed
like
the road,
every one of my sketches.
and then the chicken died.
Well, there's this one where it was like this guy's son like making fun of his sister because like she had like a cinched waist, and it, like the joke doesn't matter because it's like this boy like, you know, being like just like saying like this jerk thing, and then the end of the joke is, and then the strong man who always hoped that his son would grow up to be a priest went out to the woodshed and cried. That is the end of the joke.
I must have
Honestly, like I feel like all stand-up jokes should kind of end like that.
It's amazing. I love it.
the oldsters. They knew comedy better than we ever could.
I mean, there's a lot of just like shit that doesn't make sense or just, you know, is referencing old stuff. I mean, obviously it's old jokes, but
How many Georgians does it take to flush a toilet?
Have you ever noticed that how hard it is to open airline peanuts? It makes a strong man go to the woods to cry.
We should probably stop doing comedy and do some science.
Solar phytology.
It's like the Matrix, but for plants. Yes, that is the correct face to have.
You know, for
The
kids.
inquisitive. Turn the head. Put your hands in your head in your hands.
It's like the computers have taken over and all the plants are in pods of goo.
Basically, what they did
And
is
there's
they
a neo plant that breaks
jammed a bunch of pipes into a plant to suck its vital juices. It's energy. It's photosynthesis. It's photosynthesis for shizzle. Okay, so we're trying to use solar power, and at best we get 12 to 17% return. The energy that goes into the solar cells, we get about 12 to 17% of that power, as opposed to a plant that uses
bounces
photosynthesis. Yeah, and it's almost 100%. For
That's
every
pretty incredible.
photon that goes in, an electron gets shot out and it gets to be used as energy in
I didn't
the plant.
realize plant leaves were that efficient. They use almost every photon that lands on them.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, it uses that energy to convert things into sugar. So it's not like 100% of the sun's energy becomes something usable for us or for the plant, but it converts that energy extraordinarily efficiently. So we're trying to figure out how to get that good. What happens in photosynthesis is...
We could either keep trying and learn, or we could just steal their essence.
like the podlings in Dark Crystal. I want to steal your essence. So what happens is sunlight hits the leaf and kind of like shakes loose an atom. What it does is it uses that sunlight to
electron.
split water atoms into hydrogen and oxygen, and you get electrons from that interaction. What they did is they found a way to interrupt photosynthesis, so they capture that electron before it goes off to do its sugar work.
They're basically funneling off the energy before the plant uses it.
So basically we are the mother has the baby food, and it's going to put the baby food into the baby's mouth, and we smack it out of the mother's hands and take it from her.
Eat the baby.
Sorry, baby, you're not eating today.
And my biggest question, which that brings up, is: doesn't the baby die now? Doesn't the plant die? Basically, we're taking the energy it needs to live,
Well, okay.
and using it to power our iPods.
Here's the thing. Yes, that's what they use the energy for.
These scientists.
Oh, this is the sweetest iPod charge I've ever had in my life. Just feeling the pain of that dandelion. Just, oh, so nice.
Ramaraja Ramasamy is one of the scientists, and
he sounds like a
Yogeswaran Umasankar. Just listening to
I just want to hear the podcast of Dave
pronouncing Indian names. Number 43, Sumasakartejalaria.
I mean, I would
That's
not
Tumblr.
do any better. but
Goddamn Tumblr. These are all still small-scale experiments because, yeah, basically what they're doing is...
By the way, plants visibly shudder when you say those names to them. They're like the evil villains in every plant's horror story.
They take, like, carbon nanotubes, teeny tiny things, and, basically kind of stick them into the plants and just siphon off those electrons. And they've been able to get, like these really small tests going, which end up increasing by like 2 orders of magnitude the amount of energy that they've been able to get from sunlight. So as it is now, they're just getting electrons, just, a little dribble of electrons, but it's proof of concept that, like maybe we can do something with this. Or, not even having to harm the poor plants. We can use that technology. It's like, oh, okay, now we know how to, use the photon to make an electron, and we can implement that technology rather. So it doesn't have to end up with the Neo of plants taking down all of human civilization, or however that movie ended. I don't even remember anymore.
There was albino twins with the dreads.
Yep, that was a thing. And then some old white dude turned out to be the boss of it all. As usual.
3D Hoplology.
Have you ever been so mad and you're just like, if I only had a gun right now?
Yep.
Well, all you have to do is press Control P.
No.
Printer up.
No. There's a reason I don't have a gun. Because bad things would happen eventually, inevitably.
Imagine if you had the printer at the ready and just hit Control P every time you were pissed off. I would be dead.
well, But is the action that you're hitting Control P and using the gun, or are you just taking out your anger by printing a gun? Because then you could just, if your anger's done after printing a gun, you could just have a pile of guns and be okay.
Oh, I feel better.
It takes like 35 minutes to print a gun. You're like, ugh, you know, honestly, I don't even remember what I was pissed about anymore.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Now I feel happy.
So you're talking about the 3D printing.
Okay, so this is kind of an update. We talked about this once before. Actually, in I think our very first episode with Rebecca Lieb, we talked about the plans for a 3D printed plastic gun that were circulating the internet. At the time, it had never been fired, and experts were saying, well, if you tried to print this and fire it, you would explode in your hand and you would die.
And most people are not that dumb.
Well, things have evolved since November of 2012.
Oh, such a long time ago.
The guy who created this design has updated it, and it fires now. The 25-year-old Cody Wilson from guess which state that really likes guns?
Texas?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Cody Wilson
Either that
from
or
Texas.
Florida is my other guess because that's where the psychos live.
There's psychos everywhere, man.
I feel like the percentage is much, much higher in Florida. That's where weird shit goes down.
So how much of Florida is it, like 60-40 old people psycho split?
Yes, because you take into account the swamp
But
people. which
some of the
fall
old
into
people are
psycho.
psychos. It's like a
Oh,
Venn
yeah.
diagram. Like the circles overlap at some point. And then another circle is alligators.
Do alligators count as people in Florida?
Some of the old psychos
Some
are
of them have
alligators.
learned how to use public transportation, so yeah, they kind of do have to count.
This is a super tangent, but there was a story about a guy who was running from police into a swamp and got eaten by a 40-foot alligator.
Okay, did not realize they got that big.
Yeah,
maybe
I did.
Kind of frightened. by
Maybe it's a
I
25-foot alligator. Anyway,
Still-
the important
still
part
big.
is the got eaten by alligators while being chased by police.
That's why I live in Los Angeles, because as bad as it could possibly get, as much crime as I could possibly do and try and run away from the cops, at least I know I'll be
Probably not
beaten to
gonna
death by racist cops, but I won't get eaten by an alligator.
I feel like this is you jinxing yourself. There's going to be an alligator that gets loose.
The worst thing that could probably happen is that the alligator would be deputized and be a racist alligator cop and then eat me.
And you would be like, as you're going down its gullet, you'd be like, you do not understand how ironic this is. We were just talking about this.
For a second, I didn't think you said deputized. I thought you said debutized, like it was a debutante. So I was imagining it in this like
Long
fabulous
flowing hair.
dress.
She's coming out, and what's she wearing? Chan's skin.
And handcuffs. This took a weird turn.
I don't know how we got to that from 3D printed gun, but the update is they didn't think the gun would fire. Now it fires. There's a video of this dude test firing it at a range, and it works. And so
Why?
people are going crazy.
Here's the thing. I'm all for freedom of information, and I want these things out there. However, I think if you download that gun, it should also download a plan for, say, a pocket pussy or some form of sexual gratification device so that when it prints out a gun, it also prints out that, so you have a choice. Obviously, it's from pent-up sexual aggression. There's no other reason why you
Right.
should 3D print a goddamn
Or-
working firearm. So at that point,
Maybe
you should be able to choose.
If it automatically printed a penis extension for you as well.
Also,
Oh,
perfectly
I don't need
legitimate.
this gun anymore.
Like, look at this. I'm a real boy
I've got
now.
2 penises, reference to last week's episode.
Yeah, that's weird. That no longer scans.
Okay.
I don't feel any more manly by having a second penis. I don't feel like I can walk up a girl like, hey, baby, you want to see 8 inches? That's 2 4-inch penises,
Yeah.
by the way.
I think it would lower your like if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, I don't know what to do. Like I don't know how
Right,
to
right.
physically.
Which
Right,
one
I
do I
can't
pay
put
attention
it-
to?
Yeah, it's too many logistics.
I'm
It's not-
looking
it's not
up
worth it.
diphallic porn as soon as I get home.
Will you send us an email about how it logistically works?
Will you not
If
send
I
us that
find
email?
diphallic porn, I will put a link to it on our website. I swear. Okay, back to guns. I'm kind of torn about this because I am a very big proponent of gun control, background checks, and keeping track of who's keeping guns. But I think we're entering an era of technology where you just can't anymore. When you can go to Pirate Bay and download a gun and print it on your home printer, the era of keeping track of who has guns is over, and we just have
cool.
to deal with it.
I'll just 3D print some body armor. I'll be fine.
It's interesting. Like, for one thing, there's a law against undetectable firearms. The rule is that you can't have a firearm that's not detectable by a metal detector. So the plans that...
Does it also ban invisible guns?
Yes, and imaginary guns.
It's good thinking ahead. 'Cause
Finger
eventually
guns?
It's going to happen.
Pew, pew, pew. That's illegal.
That's a thing you could have. You could legitimately replace the top two knuckles of your hand with like some
With the
sort of
plastic gun.
Yeah.
I guess you could.
or just like a Derringer, just like a single bullet, and then like I don't know what the firing mechanism is. I guess you could just use your thumb, just like,
You just tie a little nail.
or maybe
Like-
it's just the sound of your voice, like it's voice activated, so you go pew pew, and it shoots.
Oh, hilarious crime.
Oh, we're all gonna die.
Yep.
Rodentology.
We all remember the Countess Bathory, don't we? AKA Lady Dracula.
The Blood Queen or something? What's her
An
name?
Eastern European lady who supposedly bathed in the blood of virgins to stay young.
Well, that's just good sense.
Yeah.
Turns out she was kinda right. They did studies with mice because mice are easier to get than virgins if you're trying to steal their blood.
Good logic.
And basically, they pumped young blood into an old mouse, and it turned back the aging on their heart.
It's more terrifying than just they pumped young blood into an old mouse.
I did
They merged the circulatory
Researchers surgically
system.
joined the circulatory systems of pairs
This
of
is
mice.
like a mouse centipede,
We're going to take your aorta, jack it out of your chest,
the largest artery, by the way, I
Attach
hear.
it. Stick some surgical tubing on it, drag it all the way over to this other person over here, pull their aorta out, put them together.
Not just that, like, you young mouse, we're going to take your aorta and attach it to an old, enfeebled man that you will be attached to for the rest of your life.
Are they like continuously attached?
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of have to be. And for at least 4 weeks, because that's how long this study was, the two of them were attached. These pairs, multiple pairs.
Like frontsies, backsies, backsies.
I don't know.
They
Like,
did not clarify, and I do not want to know.
I need to know how to imagine this with a human. If I'm going to be attached to somebody's back, to their front, side.
About the
Imagine,
anus.
if you will, please, from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Master Blaster. You have somebody piggyback, probably someone smaller, because it would be kind of weird to
They
have two
weren't
large
actually
people.
attached by circulatory
Okay,
system.
here's the thing. It's young blood in an old person. Young boy, young girl, strapped to your back. Pipes sticking out of their chest and plugged into little sockets in your back that plug into your circulatory system. The
I
little
have to-
kid just flailing there, pumping blood. It's got to flail because it's got to pump the blood. You
I
know,
have
you
to
don't wanna
assume
use
that they made them immobile. Like, they probably
I'm
snipped
thinking. I'm
the
planning for
spinal
a
cord or
future
something.
when this is going to be on every street
Commonplace.
corner. Every old person is going to need a set of young blood pumpers on their backs to keep fresh and young.
Where are we going, Grandpa?
Shut up!
Shut up and circulate.
Shut up!
That's the title of my autobiography.
Yeah, basically, what they found is that the old heart from the old 23-month-old mouse, as opposed to 2-month mouse, their heart shrank to almost the same size as it was of the younger mouse. Not entirely sure what did that. They think it might be a protein called GDF11. So they took that extract and they pumped it into a bunch of old mice, and the hearts did shrink a significant amount. But it may be a host of other factors. It's fucking blood. There's a gajillion things in it, so there are all sorts of things. But they think that in terms of anti-aging studies, that there are things that can slow down aging, and also things that can speed youthening. I'm going to say that that's a word now, because we are getting into the world of crazy science where this shit is possible. Like 50 years ago, it's like, oh yeah, someday we're going to have magic pills that make us younger. Now we have We're on the verge of discovering magic pills that make us younger.
To be fair, though, you've brought in 5 or 6 stories about how they've reversed aging in mice, and it's still not available to me over the counter.
This is true, because I don't think you want to be attached to Meg right now with tubes just
By the aorta.
connecting your aortas.
Well, I don't know if Meg wants that, but
I think it sounds romantic.
I'm in.
It's time for a quiz.
It's time for a quiz. We are back again after a admittedly horrid first outing.
Yeah, you guys did terribly.
We got one. We, all of us, even the ones who got questions right, did terribly. We got 1 out of 5. We're going to redeem ourselves, and if we don't, well, at least this whiskey will take the edge off.
I'm just here to watch and sip my single malt 16-year Bush Bills.
Question 1. What color does litmus paper turn if a solution is acidic?
Oh, it's pink or blue, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say blue or orange, so
I was going to say, I believe blue is base and I believe red is acid.
I'll go with that.
I think if it's red or pink we're going to say we're going to
Magenta.
Actually, pink
just gonna-
is
if
not
it's magenta,
found.
that's flat out wrong.
Oh, okay. I thought we were getting into a point where we were just
Burgundy?
naming shades of red and pink.
Fuchsia? Burnt umber. Let's say burnt umber.
Burnt umber.
Terracotta.
The answer is pink or red.
Yeah.
We got both. That's 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points.
High five.
Count that.
Go ahead, Rita. All of it. Yeah. We don't get to count that as 2 points.
You're going to regret that later.
Oh, of course I am. No, this podcast is made up of regret from beginning to end.
Really, just your podcast? For me, it's my whole life.
That's a good.
This podcast is my whole life.
Okay.
It just gets it sadder and sadder.
Just like the tiniest bit of whiskey, it's just like everything is awful.
And suddenly the truth comes out.
Question 2. What are the 2 hottest months at the equator? Is this one of those trick questions, or is it one of the legitimate
Well,
questions?
it's weird because the summer in the northern hemisphere it's hot in the summer, and in the southern hemisphere it's hot in the winter.
Oh, right.
So at the equator, is it like spring and fall? Or I kind of feel like shouldn't it just be the same temperature all the time?
Trick question card, all months.
Oh, maybe. I mean, it gets hotter as you get to the equator, so maybe it's just always summer? Because it's always winter at the poles, right?
Yeah, but there's 2 months. That's not an option. Always summer is not an option. We have some listeners in Australia that have commented. So if you could give us a call right now, that'd be really helpful.
If you could go back in time and just give us a ring-a-ding.
I feel like it's spring and fall. I don't know.
Spring and fall.
The equinox is in
March
the summer.
is the
When is
spring
the middle?
equinox.
There's the solstice. Oh, it is the equinox. Yeah,
March and September.
March and September.
That's when the equinox and solstice
when the
are.
equini are.
I don't know
Is
that
that
those
right?
are the hottest months, but
Sounds right.
You just have such a self-satisfied smile for that. Is that right? That's right. Yeah.
equinoxes. Yeah.
No big deal. Yeah.
Equinox.
Equinox.
That's racist against Canadians.
That's those are people who are fighting for civil rights in Canada. Boom! All right then. Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, I'll drink to that. I don't even care if we got the answer right anymore.
What is the goddamn
Let's
answer?
say
we're
March
going
and
with?
September then.
Sure.
Or is it October?
It's a goddamn guess.
Okay. Did you just read the wrong card?
The answer is Gibraltar because I was looking at the wrong fucking card.
I want to know what the question for Gibraltar. What's the only place in Europe where monkeys live free?
Yeah,
Gibraltar.
No.
Wow, I kind of wish we would have got
Holy
that question.
shit, you guys. March and September.
Oh,
We fucking got it. We are on fire. We are on fire. Not only that, but we also took out a question that we wouldn't have gotten. This is, my God, we're going to go 5 for 5.
don't.
Whiskey,
what are you trying to do
whiskey
to it?
makes us strong and
Okay,
smart.
I will not disagree with that.
Question 3. What goes up when an elephant senses danger?
It's another penis question.
Fear boner.
I'm so scared, but I'm excited.
I was going to say like a danger flag. Like a little button, a little siren goes off.
Ears.
Oh.
Maybe.
What are the things on an
It
elephant?
could be
that
either
Tail.
ears, tail, or trunk.
Trunk.
Maybe they lift their forelegs.
Eyebrows.
It's like, hey, what?
Eyebrows. Pretty dangerous, huh?
Now all I see is a fucking Groucho Marx elephant.
Oh, but it's using its trunk to take the cigar.
I thought it was in danger. It was just my wife, huh? Well,
Okay, so even if we get this wrong, we've won
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
because we have Groucho Marx elephant for the rest of our
I
lives.
think it's ears. I feel like they fan their ears out
That's to cool themselves off, though.
to look big.
To look big, because an elephant needs to look bigger.
Sometimes you gotta
There are
compensate.
bigger things than an elephant in the African belt.
Come on, we got to go with ears. You guys didn't take aorta.
Here we go,
Yeah.
ears. Here we go, ears. It's trunk, you son of a bitch.
Oh,
That's right, you
How
flinch.
dare
I would
you.
have thrown that at you.
I think-
we blew our perfect. You blew our perfect score.
I think I'm only correct when you don't take my answer into consideration.
You get spite correct. Question 4. What do goldfish lose if kept in dimly lit or running water?
their color,
I bet you it's color.
will to live.
Their car
Their
keys.
perspicacity. Color.
I like
I
color.
think color
That's good.
is the way to go in this one.
Color.
Oh yes.
Nailed it. Okay, we're not perfect, but we're doing pretty
We're
darn good.
Crushing.
That's my general life philosophy.
Question 5. This is the final question. This is the thing that separates the men from the Ubermen. What product's secret formula is 7X? I
7
feel
Up.
like this is like an 80s brand specific kind of question.
Sure it is.
It's going to be like,
7 Up.
It's gonna be like Barbasol has got 7 X's and they're like extreme and extraordinary and extra.
Sweet Barbasol ad.
Thanks.
7 Up, guys, right? 7 Up.
That doesn't make any sense. It's under science and nature, so it has to be in the ballpark of science.
It's a
and nature.
product. 7 Up is a chemical formula. It's
It's
the
not a
seventh.
chemical formula. It's fucking sugar and water.
7 Up is the seventh. Haven't you ever heard that? There was a 1 Up. There was a 2. It's like the seventh formula, and that was the winner. So they named it 7 Up.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
Meg,
Both look at me for the history of 7-Up.
tell me I'm right. Come on, tell me I need this.
Is this a you're actually right thing, or is this a like you as Dave like need this affirmation right now? Sure, Dave.
I heard
Yeah,
this
that's-
when I was
that's
a
right.
kid.
On the
needed to be
playground.
right.
Is that the older kids told you? There were 6 other ups before the final one.
Yeah. So that was like, hey, you fucking pussy. 7 Up had 6 other formulas before they settled on the 7th one. You
have very-
faggot.
We're gonna
Very
beat you up as we
educational
give you some
bullets.
Okay, we're going to go with 7-Up as the answer, and it's going to be wrong, and I am going to be very angry. But
You got a better
what are you
answer?
going to do? I got nothing.
Motor oil.
I got nothing.
What did your bullies tell you?
Largely the same thing. Lunch money, faggot, what have you. They didn't impart any
chemical
beverage
formulas.
history to me.
Yeah.
You've got to be shitting me. What product's secret formula is 7X Coca-Cola's? What? Fucking what? Why is that science or nature?
Why did those bullies steer me wrong?
Maybe you just misheard that.
Maybe there was a lot of blood rushing to my head as they were hanging me from a tree upside down.
That was the worst question ever. No shame to any of us for getting that wrong.
Yeah.
The blue box is the problem here. Be that as it may, we did get 3 out of 5 added to our 1 out of 5 from last episode. We ended up getting 4 out of 10, which is 40%, which is bad. But we had a lot of fun doing it, which is good. So I guess all in all,
It was a wash.
thumbs up.
That's the end of the world as I know it is. I feel fine.
The end of the world watch. We've covered the
Which end of the world is this one?
the coming Armageddon by global climate change. This isn't a particularly funny or uplifting story, but the global
great.
carbon dioxide levels just crossed a threshold, 400 parts per million, which it hasn't been at since approximately 10 million years ago or so,
Yeah.
as far as we can tell.
Yeah, making our mark.
Yes.
Putting it down. We're marking our territory.
That's a good way to think
Yep.
of it.
It's like
Yes.
being on a tree.
When we live on a planet, that planet feels it. Yeah, we're fucked.
Is that the whole story?
That's my summary and the end. This is kind of scary, and they're saying it would be a lot higher, except the oceans have absorbed a lot of carbon dioxide, which is not good for the oceans either.
Yeah, because that turns into carbonic acid, doesn't it?
Right, the oceans are turning into acid. Not to
Okay.
mention coffee, which we covered a couple weeks ago.
Wait, what?
And antidepressants.
The oceans are loaded with caffeine and antidepressants.
Because here's the thing.
The air
we
is
drink
full of
coffee
cocaine.
and we take antidepressants, and they don't just disperse. They go into our pee, which goes into the sewers, which goes into the ocean. And now we have happy fish.
Oh, that whale we were talking about in a different episode. Let me. You know.
No. Hardcore fans, they listen. They listen
Okay.
to all of them. All too hardcore fans.
You better.
Who also happen to be the people who edit the show. So we'll remember it. And that's the
Speak for yourself,
important
buddy. I don't listen to it. I just edit. I just work here. Yeah, so, it's scary. I mean, I think the carbon dioxide levels are raising less quickly than they maybe were in the 90s.
We have been slowing it down, but there have been a lot of things that have suggested
Like-
that we've already passed the tipping point.
Government emission standards have made a big difference. You can actually see the mountains in L.A. now. I
Too
remember
bad
in the
you can't
90s
in
you couldn't.
China. And too
Oh
bad
my
China
Right.
has
God.
3
That's
times
the problem. Like, the U.S.'s emissions are going down, but developing countries like China and India are still skyrocketing and not showing any signs of abating anytime soon. And yeah, the question is there a tipping point where it's going to go out of control and the Earth is going to look like Venus? Venus, which has like 400-degree days regularly and battery acid rain. So I don't know. I kind of think maybe yes, but I guess time will tell. We'll see in a few months.
Well, yeah. Is there like a time estimate on when this?
I would say in the
be?
next 100 years, if levels don't get under control, we might be fucked. This generation of people, of young people now, might see a point where the planet is
I'm
much less
perfectly
habitable.
willing to live in a dome under the sea. That would be pretty awesome, I think. You see all the cute fish. Okay, all the cute jellyfish, because all of the fishes will be dead, and the only things that can survive are stinging kelp and jellyfish. But still,
And the 17-year cicadas.
as long as we got Netflix, I'm fine.
They are still planning to send somebody to the moon in, not the moon, Mars in 5 years.
Yep.
So get on board that train.
So if you're okay with living with 5 other people for the rest of your life on Mars, go to town. Enjoy.
Yep. And they
It's
need
actually
some-
the opposite of going to town.
It's the farthest town
going
imaginable.
as far away from town as possible. And they need some global warming there. The days there are the wind chill is very cold, I'm saying.
How about we just take Venus and Mars and just squish them together?
Oh
Laugh
my
them together.
god, such a great
Oh, it's
idea.
paradise.
You could call it meanness.
But that's our show.
And that's our show. Thank you ever so much to the delightful Meg Favreau.
Thank you for the double pronunciation.
Absolutely.
And for the delightful time on your podcast.
Honestly, I prefer
Thank you.
the Favreau version because it sounds like Pharaoh. It sounds like somebody mispronouncing Pharaoh, but, it's regal.
I am the most regal person I know. It's all purple and those
Also,
capes that are lined with the
You remind me
snow
of a
leopard.
mispronunciation of an Egyptian leader.
It may also have been that you came in doing a crab walk with your arms up, like in the hieroglyphics. I'm doing a visual thing that doesn't work on the podcast, and trying to narrate it. It's not working.
I always enter spaces like that because it gives us something to talk about.
Sure.
And it makes me memorable. Often not in a good way. No job interviews work out. But
For the first hour you were here, we were just like, should we say something about the way she walked in?
She's just a Bengals fan? I don't understand why that's going on.
yeah, big Bengals fan.
Sure.
Just wait until Monday. Manic Monday.
Oh.
You sure pulled out the only other Bengals reference.
Hazy shade of winter?
Yeah,
What?
there's that.
There's more?
I had a best of Bengals cassette tape for a while.
Yeah. Until it became obsolete.
I have a tape player in my car right now.
Do you seriously?
Right this
Really?
moment.
Oh, we can listen to some old tapes of podcasts I did back in 2000. Before they were called
Before
podcasts.
there
Yeah, I
was
was gonna
such a thing as podcast.
When we were just putting them
Basically-
on the internet and nobody listened to them because they didn't understand
It was
the
just you in your bedroom with a tape recorder going, "Welcome to the Science Jerk. I'm your host, Robert Chan. No, my guest today, once again, is nobody."
It's Fluffy. Hi, Teddy Bear. Hey, Teddy, how's it going? Where can they find you online if they were looking for you, Meg?
A few places. You can find me at my website, megfavreau.com. That's MEGFAVREAU.
.com.
I got a Twitter under the same name. I got a old joke blog. It's
.com.
someoldjokes.tumblr.com. And every weekday I post a joke from a joke book that was published before 1950. It's pretty badass, no big deal. So.
Back when comedy was comedy. Men were men.
So you are one-upping the hipsters something fierce doing that. I am impressed.
Well, I'm very impressive, so.
Sure, Jeff, absolutely.
Yeah.
No question there.
I need to say a lot of nice stuff about myself right now because you're thanking me as being a guest, and so anything I say about myself, you're just going to agree.
So
Hey,
you
Meg.
should soak it up while you can.
Did you know that the difference between a woman and an umbrella is you can shut up an umbrella?
Oh, that sounds like it's from the 80s, perhaps the mid-90s during the blue-collar comedy
I was
tour.
going to say, I think I heard Bill Engvall say that one.
You can find us at thesciencejerks.com or sciencejerks.com or on the Twitter at the Science Jerks. We're on Facebook and so on and so forth.
Go to the website, click around, subscribe on iTunes. We're also on Stitcher. And you can follow Robert Chan on Twitter at 999 RPMs.
And you can follow Dave at Dave Ciascio if you're in the shitty side of his family, or Dave Chacho if you're on the good side.
Either way you slice it,
Still good tweetings.
it varies.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Meg.
Thanks. I like being creeped on when I'm asked what I do with my life.
Give your ass about your blog. You like
So
it to
you,
be creepy.
you tumble, baby. You tumble.
Yeah.
You got a nice feed.
No, it's actually it's not very frequently updated.
Never mind.